Veterans are going to test you, right? And if they feel that you've gotten more money or more publicity, they're upset about that.
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
Anyone interested in following? Caitlin Clark is well known in basketball as a supernova, is changing the game for women. NBA legends are the icons with each play. Who are passionate about the sport are unable to, cannot help but be enthralled by her genius. Caitlin's captivating ability has brought about a hitherto unheard of degree of enthusiasm for the WNBA, raising the league in a manner not many could envisioned, but this is when things start to. Even more impressive, Michael Jordan is the best of all time has lately revealed information about the turmoil surrounding Caitlin Clark and revealed his MJ's perspective on her future is a game changer's commendation of Caitlin says for itself. So pay attention because what Jordan's words are nothing less than remarkable. While broadcasting, Caitlin Clark became the center of attention, while the camera focuses on her at exactly when Walt Clyde Frazier needed it. The renowned former Knicks athlete and an analyst was now unable to avoid creating a. As viewers watched, you could leave a comment. Feel a blend of nostalgia and humor in a lighthearted challenge from Clyde's voice. A legend from the past to the rising star. Rising, what Frazier stated after, captured everyone's interest, resulting in admirers humming and wanting to know what he actually. Keep an eye out for Clark's game, because what he said was anything but typical.
Doesn't look that formidable. I could stop her.
Just put a ball in her hand. She is spectacular to watch.
As it's clear that Frazier was only kidding when the comment immediately attracted notice, particularly on social media, where a lot of fans realized that the humor was still present in. Clyde might want to think twice, putting Caitlin Clark to the test. One-on-one these days, taking into account her rapid ascent in the game, it's reasonable to claim Clark was more than capable of holding her own. Versus Larry Bird, a Hall of Famer. Among the best basketball players, history recently expressed his opinions on. Caitlin Clark is renowned for his subtle. However, the Bird's strong remarks caused a unexpected statement that demonstrated only his fascination with Clark's performance. It isn't often that this type of acknowledgement is given to the player from a Bird of folklore, and it's obvious that he had been interested in Caitlin in unquestionably in a significant manner. Bird's remarks offer a distinct viewpoint that relates his personal background to the game. Here's what happened to Caitlin's thrilling ascent. What Larry Bird had to say.
I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa, Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I've watched a lot of basketball.
Bird's comparison reveals a lot about Caitlin's influence is not limited to fans, but the legends themselves laid the cornerstone of basketball excellence. To be specified in addition to the type of Bird himself watched the games in Indiana. The state demonstrates how Caitlin's the excitement and skill have gone beyond. In addition to women's basketball, in the sport's broader context, this sort of a legend's acknowledgement, such as a Bird that illustrates how the voyage of amazing Caitlin Clark is with. She's not only changing in every game, views that she's gaining admiration from her position as the greatest of all time. There are times in the game's future when basketball that goes beyond competition. Times when even the most ferocious competitors must admit excellence, and that's precisely what occurred when one of Shaquille O'Neal's, the most well-known voices in basketball, choose to comment on Caitlin Clark. This endorsement isn't merely any from someone with every justification to stand on the other end of the barrier. Although he was initially faithful to Angel Reese, Shaq was unable to ignore his admiration for Caitlin's extraordinary talent, poise, and determination. His subsequent words revealed a whole change in viewpoint, and there was no denying Caitlin's regard.
She is a great player, but it's a lot of players that, no lie, who, as far as basketball-wise, they have the edge over her of why they should be playing in the Olympics right now. Mind you, this should motivate her. This should make her go harder in the gym. The 3 weeks that they off, she should get in better shape.
Shaw's appreciation for Caitlin Clark is proof of the she is unquestionably making an impact on the game. To be acknowledged in this way by Shaq, an NBA legend, says it all regarding her ability and mannerisms. Altering the story in women's basketball, players are hard to come by. Garner such sincere appreciation from somebody who has participated in some of the fiercest competitions in the sport. Shaw's remarks emphasize not just Caitlin's skill, but also her resilience and traits that are gaining her courtesy at every stage of the game. It's not simply basketball at this time. It's about overcoming obstacles and succeeding, defeating skeptics, and demonstrating that Caitlin, the real deal, Clark, is losing out on the year's largest sporting event. Perhaps it was a difficult pill for Caitlin swallowed, but it proved to be at least a blessing in disguise. What a 3-time NBA champion center. Dwight, Defensive Player of the Year. At the time, Howard recommended that Caitlin make advantage of the time off to hone her abilities and arrive, returning more robustly for the second half of the season, and he was entirely correct. Looking back, Howard's remarks appear to nearly foretelling as Caitlin continued to rule as he had predicted.
Like, they played this all wrong, bro.
Terribly, bro.
They was supposed to gas this shit. This is why people don't watch this shit when y'all leave college, women's sports, because y'all hating on the best thing that's gonna happen to the W.
Following the Olympic break, Caitlin Clark appeared to be an entirely distinct player when it's not feasible to express precisely how much is being omitted. Her fire was ignited by the squad. There's no claiming that she had returned to her rhythm, losing the opportunity to travel to Paris, and perhaps taking a seat on the bench for a roster that was already stocked could have been. She would benefit most from avoiding circumstances that might have caused her to fail. LED or momentum leading to a regrettable injury was a blessing that others didn't see. Dwight Howard observed a failure or contempt, a chance that he knew a player of. Clark was of the ideal caliber, in a position to grab that opportunity and demonstrate. She outperformed those who were chosen before the guys who don't have extensive media coverage are the most probably provide us with their uncensored viewpoints. Thus, we will begin with a former athlete who isn't everywhere. In retirement, Jeff Teague was on the airwaves, a strong starter for the majority of his 12 league seasons, and he was a NBA champion and one-time All-Star championship ring. Nevertheless, he was never a sensation in the media or a highly marketable, now retired figure. Teague felt free to condemn the WNBA for how it handles when Caitlin Clark joined the league, having a sizable following.
I think it's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
Although one may contend that his delivery is raw, the primary point he's making is really sensible after years of rage, discussion regarding the gender pay gap in sports and a history of failure, aims to increase the WNBA's visibility. With Caitlin's arrival, things have finally making progress in some areas, although she still received a harsh greeting. Teague just demonstrates that such a mindset is harming the league's finances while demonstrating that he takes into Caitlin should receive better care by her teammates and supervisors. NBA legend Rick Barry wasn't holding back when he arrived to the defense of Caitlin Clark in A. Barry made a strong remark that was very clear, evident that the constant criticism Caitlin has encountered some WNBA players is the result of pure jealousy and anxiety over her extraordinary talent. The words were blunt and unapologetic, placing those detractors in their proper context. Barry's statement is exactly what every Those who doubt Caitlin Clark should hear it. Demonstrates why she is deserving of everything. Respect that she has gained.
They don't know the value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They weren't flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Barry's remarks struck a chord, profoundly with both players and fans, bringing up Caitlin's trip with everyone. Despite the challenges she surmounted after hearing Barry, a legend, publicly acknowledged the unjust treatment and defend. Caitlin was a strong moment that shone emphasis on the envy that has frequently motivated her detractors. It also acted as a reminder that genuine brilliance is similar to. Caitlin frequently terrifies those who Barry's not prepared to accept it. Caitlin's support has merely implied status, and the admiration she has gained is NBA greatness is now more apparent than ever. Additionally, George Gervin came out to defend the statements made by Caitlin Clark. Carried the same amount of weight as Gervin. Didn't hesitate to address the Caitlin has experienced disrespect, which has made it evidently her talent deserves. His statement was made with admiration rather than condemnation. Created a stir by conveying a strong message to for everyone who questions Caitlin's greatness. Indisputable, and the legends acknowledge it and get ready, because Gervin's fervent defense will soon quiet the doubters.
What did you expect was going to happen to her? Number one, I don't think it's jealousy. Oh my God, she's getting all the endorsements. We're going to go after her. You're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked, right? You're playing against grown women. The same thing happened to us.
Caitlin Clark has swiftly garnered grassroots backing from Indianapolis supporters, yet she's still not able to match some of the historical basketball heroes when it comes to local affection at the summit of the most adored Indiana ballers list. The best three-point shooter of all time, Reggie is a ruthless competitor and marksman. Miller, who lived through all 18 seasons, sporting a jersey from the #31 Pacers, while, as one might anticipate, Miller will display considerable. Considering Clark to be the new savior of his town, he took the other route and essentially stated that each rookie needs to learn how to overcome obstacles and rivalry.
You got to earn your stripes. And remember this, I say this all the time. This is not I say this, understanding NIL is what it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But when you go to the professional world and you're in competition against other professionals who are trying to feed their family.
Yeah, mortgage
It'll
payments.
give you the business.
What?
Every time.
I got to feed my family.
And they not about to let you look
So
good.
if
You're not
the
about to
marquee
look
player,
good.
well, guess what? I need to make my name. I need to do my thing against you.
Miller, Reggie, participated in the vintage NBA where the standard was physicality, and his viewpoint on severe fouls may not apply to the game today, but it is evident that Caitlin Clark is having difficulties. She's more than just competitive. It was enduring needless animosity. WNBA players are never realistically expected to merely greet Caitlin without any battle, but the degree of opposition she has experienced surpasses earning her. When it seems like someone is trying to push Caitlin's trek down is much more than that. It's about more than just gaining respect, requesting equitable treatment, even if it denotes overcoming the odds with courage. This contrasts sharply with how Michael Jordan went up to the continuing Caitlin Clark's drama. Later on, we will investigate MJ's viewpoint, which demonstrates a distinct contrast to Reggie's unfortunate remarks. Vince Carter's illustrious tenure as the spokesperson for basketball in Toronto was a long way off. His path as the Raptors' marquee was easy. The player faced numerous challenges that put his fortitude to the test and affected his. Carter is familiar with the game, challenges associated with being in the spotlight, therefore he wasn't shocked by the rookies hazing that. He recognizes the challenges Caitlin Clark is facing, that this type of care is associated with the area, particularly for newcomers who are equally well-liked and gifted as Caitlin.
They cannot have
this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
It's a professional league right now, which makes everything distinction from her playing days in college. The stakes are far higher in these. The stakes will only get higher as the league receives increased attention and Caitlin begins engaging in games with more. Everyone will be under pressure to help her. In those circumstances, the competition that she is now dealing with is greatly bigger than anything she has ever seen. Barkley has identified in college the fundamental problem in the Caitlin Clark story. Healthy competition is one thing, but malicious and petty conduct is another. There have been cases where Clark has been knocked down by opponents, a court without a real basketball explanation for it. However, some contend that players ought to be grateful for Clark's skill rather than aggressive. Barkley thinks that another group exists to blame for the whole thing.
Is Caitlin Clark a bigger under 30 star than any under 30 star in the NBA? I think she is.
Absolutely.
Too. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't even think that's a debate. I literally did not care about women's college basketball 10 years ago in any way, shape, or form. So I think some things have moved toward just the quality to play is more fun to watch.
Barkley is not to be blamed for becoming annoyed by what he perceives to be WNBA injustice. Regards Caitlin Clark as a source of income, yet it fails to provide adequate protection for her on the floor and position her as the banner of the future. The league's bearer portion of that comes from corporate prudence as the choice. Producers would rather wait for the season to conclude prior to developing a plan centered on Caitlin Clark's quick rise to fame. The second aspect of stardom could be connected to a personal distaste for Clark among a few important media figures, and that's simply unacceptable in a professional setting. Surroundings on a recent transmission of the sports media person Bill Simmons podcast. Bill Simmons didn't mince words, stating a startling assertion regarding Caitlin. The impact of Clark in the realm of Simmons emphasized Clark's basketball, striking a scent pointing at her revolutionary effect on the WNBA from her rookie season that broke records to the astounding volume of viewers and fan interaction that she has ignited. It's obvious that Caitlin is altering the rules. Simmons' next statement got everyone talking, as he made an unexpected analogy. Caitlin and the best young NBA player. Stars pay attention because what he says is destined to elicit some intense reactions.
Man, shoot the blood out of the ball. You know what I mean? I never seen anything like it. You know what I mean? And then just how aggressive she is, you know, and not just scoring the basketball, getting her teammates involved as well. I think she's so great for the game. You know what I mean? It was a pleasure watching her, and I just think down the road, she's going to only get better.
Bill Simmons, audacious. The claim was more than a casual remark. It was an authentic acknowledgement of the increasing impact of Caitlin Clark on the sport that contrasts her with the best under 30. Not just her is highlighted by NBA stars, individual aptitude, as well as the more general cultural change that she is helping to bring about. 10. Women's college basketball, years ago, might not have received as much attention as it does. But Caitlin's ability and presence today have unquestionably advanced the sport. The fact that Simmons, for example, honestly, I wasn't interested in the women's game is suddenly enthralling, speaks for itself. It illustrates how Caitlin's performance is no longer limited to borders that transform skeptics into faithful people and putting the women's game first in a manner that makes it impossible to disregard Allen Iverson's perception of this talent as well. In a brief interview, he said, "What's unique about Caitlin Clark? Because of this, she is a game changer for the league." He made time to draw attention to her unique combination of abilities and attitude in relation to basketball.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that. It's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package. And her being the French breaking that record, and the amount of attention that she has gained over the course of these last couple of years. Every building she goes into, there's a different energy. Like, it's great for her, great for women's basketball.
The location of Allen Iverson's. When it comes to how to provide praise, priorities, he is quick to give Caitlin Clark the recognition she merits as a remarkable offensive motor, as it's also how, when he was at his best, they were both provided with the majority of taking accountability for their respective teams as soon as they entered the league with the violence that, according to Allen Iverson, this is something that is necessary for that position, the quality that permits an aggravating initiator to be. Their elite is an all-time best. The ability to make games is something that Caitlin Clark is naturally good at, despite having the least amount of experience. Player on her squad, such as players, are people who rise to the floor, better for everyone around them by their seriousness and selflessness. Iverson managed to lead a group of poor offensive talent entering the NBA Finals from his exceptional capacity to let's see what Caitlin can accomplish in her prime. Allen, according to Iverson, she will only keep improving in the future, therefore she will undoubtedly learn how to raise her even higher floor for the squad. Hopefully the Indiana Fever managed to construct the appropriate role-playing materials nearby Caitlin Clark in order to enter the larger platforms that Iverson could reach. Michael Jordan, who is generally considered to be the best basketball player ever, Time recently made a statement regarding the Caitlin Clark drama, providing his viewpoint on her path and what he thinks is ideal. Jordan's remarks regarding her future were both perceptive and encouraging, being aware of the close scrutiny Caitlin has encountered this season with his familiarity in handling pressure and being examined by medical media. Jordan's remarks carried important. This is what he said about weight. Caitlin's passion is what motivates her. Jordan has only been quoted by the greatest, yet, let's face it, a few of the participants in she is being targeted by the league for all they perceive her talent for the wrong reasons. Rising and they're feeling threatened. Caitlin must take the following action: maintain her composure, concentrate on her game, and show them the definition of greatness. Every critique and pettiness she must allow it to strengthen her rather than shatter it. The best method to respond to them is by demonstrating repeatedly that she ought to be at the top. Jordan's counsel makes. He obviously sees something unique, something in Caitlin that makes him think of his personal conflicts with detractors and those that question his message during his career was one of promising resiliency. Caitlin should put the controversy aside and allow her performance is more powerful than any of the commotion surrounding her for Jordan to openly. This method of addressing Caitlin is evidence of her ability, and she is already having an impact on Steph Curry himself had to weigh in on the sport. Caitlin Clark has been the subject of Steph Curry's shooting comparisons. Form with Caitlin's comparable form. Both Clark and they have that glaringly. Defenders are stunned by their rapid release time. However, there is much more to their games than only the weapon that Steph possesses. Noted the unique feature from, you don't want Caitlin Clark to be like Steph. Simply need to be able to shoot. Similar to Steph, you must turn the game into a performance for the audience. You must be greater than that in your game. Look for methods to improve your team, and even when the ball isn't in play, that's what differentiates you in your hands. Steph's superiority above everyone else. Officers who have been putting there. It's no surprise that three-point shots. Steph has been frequently questioned regarding Steph and Caitlin Clark are both awesome. Has publicly shown his admiration for.
Caitlin Clark go through shit. I'm watching all. Man, rookies, you're going to go through some shit. And guess what? When you're in, when you got the bullseye on the back, when you in, it's going to come with some shit. Ain't nobody hitting y'all with the step back in the high. Yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah, you fair.
Steph played for the NBA in a historic three-pointer with the WNBA battle was an exciting one that was. Close with Steph edging till the very end. Out the victory perhaps now that the NBA is playing. Three-point shootouts in the WNBA have been determined that Caitlin Clark might have attempting to compete with her idol. She has also refused to participate in the three-point contest is still open. She claims to know all about it in the future. We're crossing our fingers she does. Caitlin Clark should look for some comfort in NBA veterans' words. It's preferable to just hear from people who have the resumes to support their claims. NBA champion and former MVP Kevin Garnett is known for being among the most diligent athletes in his field and he benefited from his well-known aggressiveness and swagger. Conquer innumerable obstacles during a NBA career of 21 years, known as the Big Ticket. Garnett immediately entered the NBA out of high school and quickly became apprehensive. All sides of the floor, giving him a distinctive viewpoint on how basketball stars are created.